haven't seen Alter Ego playing on Nepal just yet, so I'm probably going to give this one to Alter Ego just by virtue of the fact
who wins the match? What's the score?
The match, I'm saying Alter Ego 3-1.
AVRL?
Yeah, I think Alter Ego 3-1 is expected, but at the same time, my expectation personally of Alter Ego is that they should be looking for a 4-0 here.
Okay.
Well, here we go. Alter Ego up against Surge Esports Club, our very first match here of Super Weekend. We have our special guest, AVRL, ready to take us through the action with Elfishguy. Gentlemen, let's get into it.
Alrighty, well, Alter Ego going for the Mercy Farah combo, Surge as well going for the similar. I mean, this is really pretty much standard stuff that we're seeing out
Exactly,
the bat.
yeah. Starting from the same positions as well. Look for the early positioning, and so far Surge definitely do have that.
Yeah, they are starting off the fight fairly evenly. However, Sad Boy does get the first pick onto Sorglos. One of the healers down. PB and Jam does take a big rocket there. Still, the fight does seem to be going the way of Alter Ego as they are finding the advantages. Milo certainly is winning the Battle of the Fires, but I'm not sure that that's going to be enough, though, for Surge here as his team is dropping around him. And Alter Ego, with a fairly straightforward first fight there, not really too many concerns. It wasn't particularly close.
Maybe Milo winning the Battle of the Fires is one thing, but for Alter Ego winning the Battle of the Tanks, most importantly, then Trace coming in to clean up the sides as well. Yes, they did have to back off a little bit slightly, but for Surge, maybe just kind of overextended, couldn't find the correct picks, and for Alter Ego, an easy punish.
And PB and Jam's going to go forward here, try and put some aggression onto Surge, which is not too bad of a decision, assuming he doesn't get picked off. Oh, that second one was very, very close onto Milo as well.
Another one.
And PB and Jam, oh, he hits another one. Mercy goes down as well. No, not quite, but almost. Oh, gosh, that was so close. But Alter Ego, this is certainly looking very, very dominant right now, and PB and Jam doing a great job in that very small passage of play.
Falling apart really quickly for Surge as well, and I don't think Milo going down should be the biggest issue here. Yeah, you'll just lose your Farah, but what are your other 5 members doing? You need to be looking for trades here. You need to be forcing ultimates out of Alter Ego and putting the pressure on in other areas and not just the Farah.
Yeah, Trace does actually have that Pulse Bomb up right now. So that's going to be something that Surge will have to be aware of. Looks like he's going to be searching around for a target. Ooh, almost there. Not sure that one's connected. Hasn't stuck onto anyone, so that's not a Trace, not a Pulse Bomb rather, that he would be particularly enjoying. Still, however, Alter Ego, having not lost a player just yet in this team fight, looking to hold fairly strong, and some ultis starting to come up as well for Alter Ego. They should be able to hold off onto this one. Joyboy has already popped that Primal Rage. He's getting down very, very low, and Trace gets picked off as well. Surge, they might just have done enough here.
We're still waiting for the sound barrier to come out of Rekka here. We're starting to lose members on the Alter Ego side. This could be a really late sound barrier if it even does decide to come down at all for Surge. Still into this fight right now. Both teams now using their sound barrier. Now the frags coming out from the end of this will be dictating who wins.
Yeah, so I thought that was going to be a little bit too late actually for Rekka, but it seems to have worked out okay. Sad Boy definitely getting some work done on the Diva. Self-destruct does come out from Tuxedo, not finding anything with that one, but the Primal Rage still dancing around on the point there for Surge. The cap still has not come across, and 99 is up. So overtime, just as the point flips over there for Surge. They do manage to recap, but is it too little too late?
Forcing Alter Ego to go for a full retreat here, a full reset. Late D-Mech onto Sad Boy is what going to slow things down considerably for Alter Ego on the reapproach. But for Surge, look, you're definitely right. There's a lot of catch-up here. 15% to 99 is a huge deficit to play with. The most important thing for Surge is they need to get these ultimates into play. They need to start snowballing this defense. That's how they're going to get back into the game, because of Alter Ego, they only need one fight to win.
Yeah, well, luckily for Surge right now, Alter Ego did have to wait a little bit for some of their ultimates to come up here. This is kind of just a wait-and-see period for Alter Ego. If they can get a pick or something like that, maybe they can commit off the back of it. But right now, they don't have the ultimates to play with. Valkyrie does come out, and that is a good pick as well indeed. One of the main healers down for Surge. Sad Boy gets another, and well, just across the board, you're seeing picks come across for Alter Ego. It's not even necessarily feeling like a team fight, just multiple little skirmishes that are all going the way of Alter Ego.
He's finding time and time again, Trace able to find these little pickoffs. Now for Surge, who's going to come in and stop this point from going over 100% to 48 is going to be the final score on Village to start things off with on this opening map of Nepal. But right at the end there, you look at the way Alter Ego came in. I was kind of having to talk about the fact that Alter Ego might need a couple fights to re-enter here. They might be expected to lose the opening fight, come in around the 30, maybe 40, 50% mark, finally with ultimates and a big advantage to win it. But actually, they find an early pick with Trace, snowball that, convert that into other picks, and that's all they need to get this win. So it was very easy for them at the end. And I feel like Surge didn't really put up a fight.
I've got to say, Trace has actually been fairly impressive coming into this Alter Ego roster. There was like a lot of questions about who is Trace, what's Trace going to be able to do, and really from what we've seen so far of Trace, all he's been able to play is the Tracer, but in this kind of a meta, that certainly works out and does tend to result in quite a few good plays out from him.
And with a name like Trace, I don't want to see him playing anything else either, because
exactly.
then he'd have to change his name, and that's a little bit tricky.
Yeah, definitely. But now this time, a bit of a change up here. PB and Jam is going to go on to the Sombra. No Sombra on the side of Surge at this point. Milo is going to be going for the tried and true Genji, and that's certainly working out to start things off, as we do see the first pick going their way. Zenyatta down. Needs a little bit less healing for Alter Ego. However, are they going to be able to come back into this fight? It doesn't look like it. The Surge just forced them back. Trace very, very low on HP. Does almost manage to get out of there. I'm not sure he's going to go down there. Yeah, 4-star with the chase. And the first cap does go the way of Surge.
And you got to be able to credit the Surge for the disengage as well, because you look at the side from Alter Ego, it did look like a very good dive initially, but they chase into close quarters, they chase into the narrow corridors. Surge turned around and said, you want to fight us in the choke, we're going to be able to punish you for that. And this is when the members of Alter Ego can't get enough overall damage in a small amount of space. Surge, they come out on top, and now they get the point.
Yeah, Surge with that Moira, definitely going to be helping out in those enclosed spaces. Now Milo and Dollar's going to be jumping in there right onto Xiao Bao. Not much that he can do as a lone Zenyatta. Had a little bit of help from Sorglos, but Sorglos getting down very low as well. Surge starting to, again, go a little bit better in this team fight than Alter Ego. PB and Jam on the point, does go down. And Alter Ego, once more, they're going to have to reset here. Sad Boy dies very late in the fight there as well, so very slight stagger, but Surge definitely doing a good job on this second point.
Alter Ego do have the EMP, though. They've been slowly building up towards this for the last two fights. 46% now in the first EMP about to come on through. Very importantly, it needs to shut down both Fatebringer and Milo. We've seen previously what Milo can do with his Dragon Blade. If he is allowed the space to go off, he can win this team fight just on his own. Alter Ego need to see that and counter it.
Well, here we go. Into the fight does go Milo with the Dragon Blade. Xiao Bao doing a great job. Oh my god, absolutely
that's one way to
destroyed.
counter it.
Milo cannot get anything done with that one. And that's very unfortunate there for Surge. Alter Ego need to try and win this fight though off the back of that, and they certainly do seem to be doing that. Sad Boy, Joy Boy making work happen. The tanks of Alter Ego making the difference there. And not to mention, of course, Xiao Bao 1v1 with a Genji that has Dragon Blade on. Very impressive.
A little embarrassing for Milo, though, I'll be honest. The EMP didn't even hit him. It's not like he was really hacked or anything. He just couldn't close the distance. Xiao Bao threw, you know, lots of headshots straight into his face. And for the rest of the Surge, who did get hit by the EMP, that was just a devastating push from Alter Ego, now hitting a lot of other ults as well.
And this is where Alter Ego now has the opportunity to start dictating the dives. You can see that as Joy Boy dives in, followed up, of course, by his D.Va and Tracer. And it's just working out to perfection right now for Alter Ego. They're not even going to have to utilize any ultimates in this fight. Yeah, Rekka did go down, but doesn't use the sound barrier. He's going to get back into this fight before anyone from Surge is really going to be able to contest this. So this is a great scenario now for Alter Ego with basically 5 ultis available.
Really quick reset as well, and kind of maybe even to the detriment of Surge, because they wanted to get some ultimates out of Alter Ego. This isn't where you want to be if you're Surge. Yes, you're kind of charging up saying your own ults, but Alter Ego are so far ahead, looking at 5 now. EMP will be coming up as number 6 pretty soon as well. Surge not expected to win this fight, but they do need to get ults out.
Well, there's the sound barrier out from Rekka. Let's see if they can get anything else past that. Surge have not invested anything into this fight just yet. They don't get too much out of it. Xiao Bao, though, did use the Transcendence, so both the support ultis down.
This is the second time Surge have gone for an early reset, and I can't agree with this because the last time they reset before they could get ultimates out, this time they got 2 ultimates out, but why reset so early when there's more ultimates you could be forcing? Extend these fights a little longer. You also need to charge your own ultimates here, so you kind of want to be fighting just a bit longer. Oh, not only that, but you had the percentage to play with as well, but not anymore, unfortunately.
No, this is potentially going to be the last fight here for Surge, assuming they aren't able to cap it out, and Fatebringer does go down very early on the piece. No one to peel for him, or her rather. Tuxedo and Milo doing a good amount of work right now for Surge, as they are just really winning the fight. It's kind of hard to tell where everything is going on right now. Sad Boy diving around in onto the point, and it's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. The self-destruct does come out from Sad Boy. Will not get anything with that one. PB and Jam does still have the EMP available, looking to see where that one is going to come in, as all of Surge is grouped up on the point, but it does seem as though the flip is going to come into effect. Maybe PB and Jam with that EMP on the retake.
It should be coming in right about now as well. It'll be a really big one as it lands on just about everybody. It's going to be a response from Milo. It gets Rekka to start things off with.
Yeah, great. A lot better from Milo there to get 2 with the Dragon Blade, but I'm not sure that it's going to be enough here, as Alter Ego are definitely getting the picks across the board as well. Xiao Bao still alive here, Sad Boy still alive. They might be just enough to continue this. It looks like it's going to be an overtime fight between the two teams. The D-Mech does come across though from Tuxedo, and that might be just enough for Surge to secure this point. Trace does get one with the Pulse Bomb, but again, probably not enough. And the sound barrier does come out from Surge just to keep themselves alive a little bit longer as well. Not a whole lot to be done here for Alter Ego.
It's only a two-man sound barrier, but that might just be enough for Surge to scrape on through. Saying that their Alter Ego not quite out of this fight just yet. They're trying to hold on here. They know the cap is in favor of Surge. They know time is running out as well. They need reinforcements rather desperately to come back into this fight, and they need ultimates if they can help it.
Well, Sad Boy getting back onto the point now here for Alter Ego. That is going to buy them a significant amount more time. D.Va, of course, quite difficult to dislodge. Eventually, she does go down to the Pulse Bomb, but still, the baby D.Va is alive. Not for long, though, as Milo does clean that one up. Primal Rage now out from Joy Boy, just to continue things on for a little bit longer. Not sure how long this overtime has been going, but it's been a minute or two. Alter Ego certainly not letting this one go down without a fight.
Rika died just before hitting sound barrier as well. That's going to be a really big deficit for this team. PB and Jam might be able to get the EMP. He doesn't. Dies at 95%. Again, just not quite there. It's going to be Milo cleaning things up, and it is it.
Oh. Run a piece, Surge definitely having to fight hard for that one, but it always kind of felt like it was going to be their fight. If they would have dropped that as it hit overtime, we would have had to ask some questions because it was really Alter Ego just trickling into that point one after another.
I think for Surge as well, they bought themselves quite an early lead. You have to go back to that very first fight now. They were the ones who were able to clean up Alter Ego, who kind of overextended again into the narrow choke points. That gave them a lot of early percentage to play with. So despite losing a fight sort of in the middle of that point, they were able to come back and say, okay, we have some sort of advantage in terms of objective here. Take your time. You can be a little bit slow, maybe too slow for my liking, because they, again, reset fights a little bit too quickly, but they were able to find a game-winning fight, bring them back into the game, force that overtime, bring it to 99, put the pressure back on Alter Ego.
Definitely going to be a bit of a change-up here for both of these two teams, now moving into a little bit more of an enclosed point. They've gone for the Orisa Roadhog Junkrat combo on both sides. Just the healer is really the difference between Alter Ego and Surge. Their team comps otherwise exactly the same. And it's really going to come down to who can probably get a little bit more damage out from the Junkrat.
That being said, Alter Ego have the superior positioning to start things out with. Notice that they're on the high ground here, about to sort of surround this cap as it unlocks in 1 second. And now Surge, they're going to be forced to jump on, but PB and Jam, he's shooting for free.
Yeah, a lot of damage out there onto Tuxedo, but still Tuxedo is the first one to get a kill. But this is great sort of positioning from PB and Jam under no pressure at all. Not sure it's going to be enough to find the win in this fight, though, as Surge definitely are the ones to find the picks. However, Riptire is available for PB and Jam. This could be the difference. Here it comes. Oh, having a bit of trouble getting over the wall, and only able to get one onto Tuxedo, so perhaps not the ideal scenario. Probably not enough to swing this point back in the favor of Alter Ego. Now Coalescence coming out from Fatebringer very, very early on. Very quick for the Mora to charge up the ultimate, but it's just a messy fight again, Alter Ego. They
do have the advantage now finally, though. Dollars went down to Trace as he did respawn close to that tactical visor. Rika as well coming up to that Valkyrie. They have resources to be able to use here. They're finding Pixels. They should get this cap.
Yeah, the respawn's just coming in a little bit quicker there for Alter Ego, and Surge struggling with that. Tuxedo does have to...
He's in the wrong place.
...disappear from the map.
He took the quick way back to spawn. I'll just give him that one.
If pigs could fly.
Yeah, and just for a moment there before they smack onto the ground. But for Alter Ego, a little bit of a slow start. Kind of, you look at the fact that Trace died very early on. So while PB and Jam had free reign, free damage, he didn't have his DP as partner. Surge were able to punish the tanks quite easily. We have another repeat of what we saw in Shrine, where Surge had this early lead on objective. But can they snowball that into something else?
Yeah, once more though, Alter Ego do have the advantages when it comes to ultis. Early pick though, and there's going to be an early self-destruct to counter that. Oh, Sad Boy, he just comes up absolutely huge. Milo, Dollars, Fatebringer all going down to that, and that is who's going to completely shut down any thought of a push for Surge.
And that's the kind of thing that'll put a smile on Sad Boy's face as well. Alter Ego now sitting at 5 ultimates. It's beautiful. It's exactly what you're looking for. Advantage now in terms of progress, straight in their favor. 45 to 32. Surge don't really have any tools here. Coming up into a Riptide that's going to be quite important, but guess what? So does PB and Jam. He's got one of his own.
This is going to be a pretty critical team fight. Basically, Surge is going to need to win, flip it back over, otherwise they're going to be fighting for that overtime. PB and Jam, though, starting off with a good pick there onto Sorglos, who did have the ulti as well. The res does come across, but I'm not sure that it's going to matter here, as everyone is dropping across the board for Alter Ego. Just pretty good positioning out from... dropping off the board for Surge. Good positioning from Alter Ego.
And a really cheap fight as well. Tactical Visor was all they needed. This is kind of, we have to go back to Shrine and talk about it again, but Surge, when they're in this sort of back foot position, when they're losing these fights, they're just not able to get the extra ultimates out of Alter Ego. This time around, it's not even like they reset too quickly. They just couldn't run at Alter Ego in time. They just couldn't force the fight in time, and now PB and Jam, early Riptide, could get a lot of kills.
Oh, certainly could. Looking for the healers, and almost gets in there. Good shot, though, from 4-star to shut it down. Now it's time for Milo to find something. Doesn't look like it's going to get too much. Just the 1 kill, but that's not too bad. Maybe it's enough to get Surge into this fight. 4-star under pressure, though, from the D.Va. Needs some backup. Is getting healed up, and that's okay. Sad Boy will get demeched. And the team, or Surge, does seem to be coming away with a little bit of an advantage here.
And they do manage to get that cap as well. So, you know, while he didn't get a huge number of kills, getting that 1 on Trace was just important enough. Got to go back to the very first fight. Again, getting the kill on Trace was just important enough, especially when PB and Jam couldn't get anything in response. And he was one that Riptide first.
Alright, so a little bit of a slower period now for Alter Ego as they do just try and force their way in through the choke. Sad Boy coming up onto the self-destruct. We'll see if he can repeat those heroics from the last time he had that. Supercharger is down. Now self-destruct out for Alter Ego, forcing Surge away from their positionings. Just 1 kill so far. Again, though, another one does come out. 4-star does get rid of the Supercharger, but I'm not sure that's going to be a huge deal for Alter Ego as they've got way better positioning on that point, just lobbing Junkrat bombs into the choke. There's not a lot that Surge can do. Overtime is ticking away. No one is there to contest it. Alter Ego, 2-1.
That's pretty much all she wrote as well, and you kind of said it in there. The positioning was key to as a factor in that final engagement. Look at the way that Surge has backed off inside this small, narrow room. This time around, though, it's not Alter Ego playing a dive. They're not going to follow you in there. That same trick on Shrine is not going to win a game for you again, not going to win a fight for you again this time around. It is just free damage. It's grenades from PB and Jam raining in. It's Helix rockets, assault rifle damage from Trace. A lot of the ways that Surge were winning in the past where they shut down Trace this time around, though, how do you touch Trace when you're all the way behind, hiding in the small room with no divers? You're full of tanks, full of players that just end up getting stuck in there. So for Surge, back themselves off into a corner, and not a surprise that they got wiped after that.
So, that was a pretty big game. That was quite interesting. I honestly thought that perhaps we would have seen Surge picking that up in the end. It got closer than perhaps maybe we originally thought we would. But big exciting news, friends. Hello to everyone joining us from the Overwatch League broadcast. And big congrats to Philly, New York, and of course London for making the stage playoffs. That's pretty big news as well. We are live here from Australia. It's Australian Contenders. We've got a couple of budget Ubers. And hopefully some good games going on as well. So let's talk through this game. We've kicked it off. We've done control. Alter Ego picked it up 2-1. Let's go through the basics of what we saw.
I think Alter Ego, they were kind of favored to win this regardless, but that doesn't give enough credit to what Surge were able to pull, because there were many points where Alter Ego maybe overstepped their boundaries, got a little bit too keen, and they were punished by Surge. Few and far in between, but when Surge did get those wins, they were able to get a little bit of early momentum. You got to look at Shrine, you got to look at Sanctum. Winning those early fights gave them a little bit of a lead to play with, but it just didn't seem like they were able to consistently close out a game.
Definitely did seem like there was moments as well where Surge could have come away with victories there. For example, that big ultimate that didn't really work out too well for Milo. If he gets rid of Zenyatta there, gets a reset, gets back in onto the point, maybe he can make something different happen on that fight, which changes the course of the entire round. Who knows what can happen from there onwards out. So, I mean, I think there was a lot of little errors on both sides that could have been better utilized by their own teams. And hopefully we're going to see that change into map number 2, map number 3, and map number 4. And see this series really tighten up a little bit.
Well, you're talking about map number 2. Let's go and see what that map will be. It's going to be Hollywood here on Hybrid. Now, something I just want to throw into the mix. Apparently, for this map, Wrecker is out, a Kraken is in. Does that change up much at all, or what do we expect to see here? Since Surge lost Nepal, they did get to pick which of the 2 hybrid maps they wanted, and it's now Hollywood.
Yeah, I'll start. I think a Kraken is... or it was rather expected, to my knowledge anyway, meant to be a starter for this team. So, you know, you have to look at this and say, is this maybe a stronger addition? And I'm not going to say player for player, but certainly I will speak to the part where it's kind of like, how well he gels with the team, how well he knows his own team and plays with his own team. He certainly has had more time, so I'd say a Kraken, a possible upgrade on that more sort of meta level and less so from a player-to-player perspective.
Yeah, can't really speak to it from a player-to-player position, but obviously we did see our Kraken playing last week with Alter Ego, so I would suspect that he's supposed to be sitting in here as the core, and maybe that change up onto Rekka was just something that they want to do on Control.
Yeah.
I guess we have to find out as the weeks progress.
Well, it's been interesting for us because it's actually think it's quite hard to take much away from Control, because when we've seen some of these games come through early, it's been Control where it's been a little bit up in the air, whether it's been a slow start for Team A or Team B, or, you know, just roster changes and things like that. I don't know. Maybe they didn't warm up. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But 2-1, if you're Surge coming out of that game, you go, we're glad we picked up one round. We need to improve. How do you think they're feeling after that matchup?
I think they'd feel good about beginning that one, but they're a little bit disappointed they couldn't close it out because, and I think you might feel the same way, Jordan, but it felt like they had the ability. If you see
100%.
them winning Shrine, I mean, they could have won Sanctum. Again, early start, great for Surge, but it's that middle sort of section towards the late. They don't know how to close out a game, and it's becoming very apparent. You don't make the kind of mistake on Sanctum that they made if you do have a clear plan of how you want to win the game. They just kind of look like they got caught in deer in the headlights, if you will, and just couldn't find the answer.
Yeah, well, given how close both of those, or all three of those rounds really were, it kind of felt to me like Surge very much could come away with the victory there in terms of the map, and it's just those minor mistakes that we were kind of talking about, maybe the positioning errors or the poor ultimate usage that didn't necessarily correlate to them coming away with the victory. Alter Ego just did it a tiny little bit better, but not so much better that it's going to be a 4-0 in my mind here. I still think that we can see Surge pick up a map. Even after that, I think, you know, they're well within their realms of possibility of picking up 2 maps. Just have to find out how well they can do.
Yeah, we don't really know that much as yet about these teams. It's week 2 and a bit, really. I'm going to call it week 3. And some of these teams have only played once or twice across the last couple of weeks. So across this week, we're going to find out a lot about these teams. But even now, we just need to see how some of these players fit in, because some of these rosters are very, very new.
Yeah. And actually, the funny thing is the new roster in this specific matchup is Alter Ego. And seemingly, even with a, I'll say substitute here, because again, I think a Kraken is meant to be the starter, but even with a substitute for Control, they looked fairly in their element. A few mistakes, as we sort of noted in there, but nothing too major. Enough mistakes to give away one map or one stage in the poll, but not enough for them to give away the entire map. And we'll have to see now going to Hollywood, can they sort of shore up on those? And for Surge as well, can they sort of find an identity here? Can they sort of find their win condition to close out a game? Because it's not enough to just have a good start.
If they win a map, is it this one, gents, do we think, or do we have to wait for Assault?
I mean, they have picked up Hollywood in the past, so I kind of feel as though Surge does have a reasonable chance at this one, to be honest. I think they're okay on Hollywood, so yeah, good chance.
Fair enough. Alter Ego up against Surge. Alter Ego going to start on defense, getting to pick the side. Surge going to have to try and attack first here. Well, Alter Ego up 1-0. Can Surge even it out? Gentlemen, let's get into it.
Well, we are about to find out, Ben. Looks like we're going to have a pause, though, because someone's dropped off Alter Ego. So that is going to be a great start to map number 2, but that's okay.
Got to keep the tension going.
I wonder if... okay, no, that was not a record or a Kraken. I was going to wonder, like, oh, maybe they swapped out that player because he was having connection issues or something, and then now he's come back in and it's having connection issues again or something like that. But it definitely wasn't our Kraken or record. I couldn't really tell who it was off that short amount of time that we got to see.
No, we couldn't. And I don't think I don't know. Even in terms of who Alter Ego decide to run here, it's the core of the team is
Sad Boy.
Oh, it is Sad Boy. Well,
yeah.
It's gonna have a sad team if he doesn't come back either. So
indeed.
But at least someone will be happy. They got Joy Boy on that team. So
yeah. Well, like I mean, that's the two worlds, isn't it? Really, Sad Boy, Joy Boy.
Yeah.
At the moment, I think they're probably all sad boys waiting for... I'm a sad boy waiting for this game to get underway, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm upset, but not as upset as Sad Boy, and that's what we're going to roll with right now. You do have to look at now, I think, for Surge as well, what they want to change up going into Hollywood. Again, they just came off that early loss, but it's a loss that was sort of mentioned that they could have maybe have won, so some slight adjustments here, some slight tweaking just to fix up these little issues. Actually, maybe little isn't the correct word to use here. We'll just say issues. To fix up these issues for Surge is kind of what they need, but a very different kind of map and game mode for them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that coming into to Hollywood, I sort of feel like they're going to be a little bit more comfortable here because, you know, we've always seen them play in control. They've never really had too much success. Yes, they've always been able to kind of get a map here or there, but they never seem to be able to close out control. We have already seen them close out on Hybrid. We've seen them close out on Assault. So, I mean, there's that past, I suppose, a little bit of hope for them coming into this one. I want to see Milo stepping up again. I mean, I've talked about Milo a lot on this broadcast for Surge. I do think he's the most impactful player on that roster, and I don't really feel like he had too much of an impact there on control. Well, that's the thing, right? You say impactful, and it's kind of impactful in two ways. It's impactful to say if he's going off, if he's doing well, a lot of impact, but if he's not doing that, it's the opposite of impact. It's not even neutral, it's kind of negative. It's like, if he doesn't do well, if he doesn't go off, it's not like, so far we haven't seen the rest of the other 5 members step up to that level where they can sort of continue the game for the rest of the team. It's if Milo isn't going off, the team isn't either. Yeah, well, here comes the dive straight in from Surge, forcing Alter Ego away from the point, but already Sorglos has gone down early. Trace always seeming to find those early picks here for Alter Ego. PB and Jam also getting a kill there on Dollar, so the fight should probably be going the way of Alter Ego at this point. Not too much on that point for Surge. No cap, no tick, nothing like that. Fairly straightforward, just the first start, you know, we get to see what the defensive setup kind of is. Easy cleanup and a few changes now onto the Surge composition. It's going to be Fatebringer, Sorglos and Milo going onto this Pharmacy composition. So also note, not only did they lose the first fight and they lose whatever ultimate charge they built, they're also now starting on 0 ultimates for these 3 new members. Expect a big catch up in terms of ultimates and for Alter Ego to be fairly far ahead. Yeah, but Surge have recognized that there's no real hit scan on the side of... Never mind. Who needs hit scan? Who needs hit scan when you've got Kraken with the Discord orbs? 4-star trying to do his best to get rid of that one. Oh, that's a good pulse bomb. There goes Mercy. Xiaobao does go down. Is it going to be enough, though, to win this fight here for Surge? 4-star doing a good job, but still across the board. They lost Milo so early on in the piece. How 4-star getting hacked up there as well. Not going to be a very fun time for him. Kraken just gets rid of him. Both the self-destructs do come out. Not too sure about Tuxedo's one there. He could probably have saved it and not wasted an ultimate, but for Alter Ego, they'll be happy to take that one off the board of Surge. Alter Ego now also sitting onto the EMP. Again, a fairly cheap fight. They seem to win a lot of these on very cheap fights. Milo just now changing onto McCree, so his 3rd hero. And I'm 50-50 about this because, again, you lose that ultimate charge, and look at where Alter Ego are with their ult economy. Yep, exactly. So that's going to be a potential problem here coming in for Surge, particularly given that Milo gets dropped so early on in the piece there. He's really not having a good game right now. Sorglos and Dollars, though, pegging a couple back here. The res does come out from Xiaobao. Fatebringer does go down as well. So this is really not looking too great, again, across the board for Surge. They're just not finding the picks, or rather, they are finding the picks, but they're not being able to follow up on it. And this is kind of extra ultimates coming out of Forza. He basically needed to kill like 2 or 3 people for that one to be worth it as well. And Surge are getting further and further behind in the ult economy. And that's got to be the biggest talking point because since the start of the game, when we looked at Nepal even, let's go back a little bit further into the series, Surge were at least able to win opening fights. They were able to win, you know, get these opening advantages. Now they're not even getting that, and they're falling further and further behind. Yeah, Milo just taking a really bad peek there as well. Now hero number 4. Swapping back off to Genji. Well, actually, this is hero number 3 because he started on Genji, but you know, he's kind of gone backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. His 4th change. Exactly. He hasn't had an ultimate at all this entire game. And he hasn't had any impact at all this entire game either. Trace has, though. Trace certainly has, getting in there and taking down Fatebringer once again. Trace is really just a menace for the healers on Surge right now. No one keeping them alive. And it just buys more time for more ultis to come up for Surge. And look at Ego. And that's exactly it, right? Because Trace gets himself 1 kill and Surge think, well, got to respawn that one. Wait for the reinforcements. How long can you wait for? 44 seconds left. Talk about Milo not having an ultimate. He might not get one this entire attack. EMP out there for PB and Jam. Good start to the fight here for Alter Ego. And Joyboy starting off nicely. Again, a healer goes down early. 4-star does go down to his Tracer counterpart as well. Just again, across the board, we see too much strength from the Alter Ego, particularly out from Trace on that Tracer. You're just not seeing Alter Ego being put on the back foot at any point. You're not seeing Surge forcing additional ultimates. You're not seeing Surge getting themselves into an ultimate advantage. And you'd think in 4 minutes, eventually Alter Ego would run out of juice and eventually Surge would have the fuel behind them to make it through. Now with 8 seconds remaining, it's not looking pretty. Well, they've got enough time to get on that point. We should see Sorglos getting the sound barrier out here as well. There it is. And this might be the fight that Surge can win, and this is the fight that they need to win as well. As they come into it with a few ultimates available, the Pulse Bomb was used by 4-star. Tuxedo still has self-destruct here. Again, Trace having the impact, but Sorglos does dispatch of him. That's good in terms of the fight. Milo building up the Dragon Blade as well at 86%, and it does feel as though now Alter Ego are starting to stagger on to this point a little bit. Surge might have the advantage here.
Milo's so close as well. This is going to be his first ultimate of Hollywood so far. Might find 2 targets, which could be absolutely huge, but is it too late into the game? Cap's about to run out, overtime in effect. A triple kill is very nice, but now they need to convert that.
I think they're going to be able to convert this one as well. They definitely have a lot of control on this point. Milo does in fact get 4 there as he does come out of the Dragon Blade and still gets rid of PB and Jam. Alter Ego doing their best to contest that point, but Surge do come away with the cap. Now, it was a little bit shaky, but they get there in the end.
Milo went from killing nobody the whole game to killing like 5 in a row, 3 on a Dragon Blade and 2 regular kills as well. Surge finally getting this cart underway, finally into the overtime. Alter Ego, though, not quite out of things just yet. There's an extra 2 minutes and 30 onto the map, and for Alter Ego, they've got to win a couple fights, stall that out until the overtime, and with ultimates like EMP Transcendence now defensively, you think they can definitely do that.
Particularly on this point of the map where Sombra has so much room to maneuver, so much verticality to play with as well. Looks like we're going to see an EMP coming out here shortly from PB and Jam if they desire it.
This is slow though. They've lost 2 healers already, one with Transcendence. Now you don't even want to use the EMP, you just want to save this one. Kind of stall the cart for as long as you can maybe. Ultimates are coming out of Surge though. For so Alter Ego, not a huge loss, but they do lose momentum. They do lose cart control, and they're most importantly going to lose the distance.
I think that's fine here though for Alter Ego, because they're going to be able to respawn here once more, be able to get at least another couple of fights in before the cap does go across. And I mean, only 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock here for Surge. That's not a lot of time. They need to win the next couple of fights, otherwise they're done.
Exactly, and momentum's important here. If they can shut down a Kraken again, make sure PP and Jam can't get a good EMP. That's how it is, but it's already down.
Yeah, that's a good start again to the fight here. PB and Jam getting some work done off that one, but Milo does seem to be waking up here, looking to find some more advantages as he dances around. Still does have the Dragon Blade available, self-destruct forcing him back. But he's going to come straight back into this fight with a vengeance. Not that he necessarily needs to, because it does seem as though Surge getting away with the better of it. Everyone just really split up right now.
A little bit weird. Where's the target priority for Surge? Where's the focus damage? Now they finally have to get a couple kills in here. Milo out with the Dragon Blade again, but who's he killing?
You got Sad Boy, but that's really not all that impactful. Oh, Trace gets 2 with the Pulse Bomb, one of them being Fatebringer. That's a very, very big impactful ultimate out from Trace. Again, having a pretty stellar series actually so far on the Tracer. 30 seconds on the clock.
We're back to square one just a little bit for Surge. We saw this 30-second mark from them earlier on Cap A. This time around, though, much longer respawn distance, much longer distance to get to the cart, forces overtime to go on through, and Alter Ego well in control. Surge need a lot to win this fight.
Well, Dollars is probably going to be the one to secure the touch here. The rest of the team does come through. 4-star with the Pulse Bomb. Let's see what you can do, my friend. Looking at the Diva, that's probably not the one you want to be using it on, and just really being put under so much pressure right now. Does get the Pulse Bomb off onto Sad Boy, but Sad Boy being healed up straight away. That's a lot of ult charge for Fatebringer. And 4-star does go down to a Kraken. Again, a Kraken having an impact on the Zenyatta. This is not looking good at all right now for Surge. Milo just jumping around on the cart. He's only at 80%, not even getting close to that ulti, and should be going down before he has the opportunity to use that one. It's again a pretty messy fight across the board though.
And we are still looking for target priority out of Surge. Like, who are they going for right now? Killing Xiao Bao is going to be a great start. PB and Jam, though, already back in the fight. Where are these additional kills going to come from out of Surge? This is what's important for them.
Yeah, we're really just not seeing the kills come out as we need them to. Milo, though, coming up onto the Dragon Blade here. Perfect timing, looking for the kill. Our Kraken does not have the Transcendence available. Will be going down, but Milo only able to get one there. Good focus out from Alter Ego as Joy Boy does dispatch of him, and slowly but surely the fight will tick away. Alter Ego, that's a pretty good defense.
You're starting to see the value of Kraken's bringing to this defense as well. Every time someone wants to go from, whether it be a 4-star or Milo, someone wants to try and chase this guy down, he's got orbs ready, he's got his foot ready basically to just shove them out of the way. And Milo's had a tough time landing hits, especially onto a Kraken, and it's been costing him a lot of time. Even if he does get the kill onto a Kraken, finding the next target has been a little bit difficult. But for Surge in general, the kind of bane for them towards the end there was not being able to find targets quickly enough and then land on them together as a team. Seemed just a little bit too split, a little bit lack of general priority. Again, I have to use that word priority for understanding which targets they need first and when.
It just seems really a little bit messy from Surge this week. Like, we've seen them, I think, play a lot better than they are right now. Maybe that's Alter Ego kind of getting to them now and starting to really dictate how this game does play out, but I sort of expected to see more out of Surge at the moment, and it's just not happening.
To their credit, they managed to get A, and look, this looked like a cap that wasn't even going to happen in the first place. It looked like Alter Ego were going to secure this one. It was going to be a full shutout, not even going to see the payload move a single meter. But for Surge, able to clutch it through to get the cart in the first place, just not enough time, not enough momentum to carry it through all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, I still feel like that is a very achievable cap for Alter Ego, to be honest. Surge have probably, in my mind, not done enough here, but maybe they can hold them out on this first point. I do think if the first point, though, does go the way of Alter Ego, Streets should be fairly comfortable for them.
The biggest thing for me is Surge's consistency, right? Because they can win some fights, some very important fights when the time comes. Got to go back to Shrine and think, okay, in the overtime, they're 99-99. They got the one fight they needed. On to Hollywood A, they got the fight they needed again during the overtime. So when it really counts, most of the time, some of the time at least, we've seen them come on through. But the sort of consistency is the biggest issue, because if you want to win defense, you want to stall out for 4 minutes, then an extra 2 minutes 30 onto B. You need to win a lot of fights in a row, and so far, they haven't.
Yeah, a bit of a change up on the defensive side here for Surge. They've gone for that Soldier, as opposed to the Sombra, which we saw from Alter Ego. Milo is taking the Junkrat, and I'll be honest, I don't think Milo is as impactful on the Junkrat as he is on some of his other heroes, so let's hope that he can make something happen here for Surge. They desperately need it at this point.
And we say some of his heroes, we've seen about 4 or 5 of them by now as well. So some of his heroes might actually just be Genji at this rate in time. But for Surge, they're happy to kind of wait this one out, especially Milo catching Trace in the trap there. For Alter Ego, probably not. They're still going to go 5v6. That's kind of interesting. Yeah,
maybe just looking to charge up some ultis here, but certainly this is not going to be an easy fight for them to win. PB and Jam fairly uncontested at the moment, but realistically, across the board, the fight definitely is going the way of Surge. Trying to hack up the Baby Diva. Not sure that's going to work out too well, nor is that translocator.
Oh my lordy.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, though, they are charging up ultimates, just not their own, and that's the unfortunate thing. Surge, they needed some sort of momentum. This is kind of the momentum that they need. They got to kind of snowball this defense. One way they can do that quite easily is by getting an early ultimate lead. If they can sort of do what Alter Ego has been doing previously, which is getting easy and early fight wins, cheap fight wins using very little ultimates, that's how Surge can win here.
I'm not sure why PB and Jam actually even decides to take that translocator, to be honest, knowing where it was. Essentially staggers himself.
Yeah, and you know what? When you give Surge a bit of ultimate charge, give them the full thing. You know, don't be stingy about it.
Don't go halves. Go hard or go home. Well, they might be going home, but 2 minutes and 20 is still enough time here for Alter Ego to make something happen. Milo, though, is up to that Riptide, so looking for a position to hide himself away and utilize that. Now. Good dive, though, coming in from Alter Ego. They do lose the first player, however. There is a trade back onto Fatebringer. Still no Riptide out from Milo. EMP is here for PB and Jam. This could be massive, but it's going to be too little too late. Please don't use it. Ooh, it looked like he was going for it.
That was a very desperate please from you as well there, Jordan. Just like, oh, please don't use that. That would truly just put the cherry on top of the cake. It's like, yeah, I mean, bad translocator, you know, die unnecessarily, and I'll just use the EMP for no reason there. But for Alter Ego, a little bit more disciplined than that. Now we're starting to see ultimates from them coming on through. Talked about the Riptide from Milo last fight. Thought he probably should have used it. I still think he should have used it, but now he definitely needs to use it.
There it is, coming out right now for Milo. And not going to be able to get too much out of that. Oh, actually, he does get PB and Jam. I didn't even see him.
That's actually big. That's big because EMP's gone now.
Exactly, and that's, again, just resetting the entire fight there for Alter Ego. They decide they don't want anything to do with that. And we see Surge start to push forward, trying to look for some kills, hunting them down, but not getting anything.
The only problem is Fatebringer didn't get the memo there that the fight was already over, so he kind of popped the Valkyrie in preemptively, thinking it was going to be a bigger, longer fight. PB and Jam just taking a nade to the face so early on. If we don't see an EMP here, this could be a loss for Alter Ego because they're just running out of time.
Look at Sorgelos hiding so far away from this EMP. Should be able to be completely untouched by that.
What?
PB and Jam still not using it. Had the perfect opportunity. Doesn't need it though. Sad Boy comes in with 2. Well, I guess one was the supercharger, so let's not get that excited. But still, it's a good start to the fight for Alter Ego and exactly what they need. PB and Jam still hanging on to that EMP. Definitely at this point does not need it. And Sorgelos hiding away from the fight. Still managed somehow to get picked before using the Transcendence.
I'm a little bit confused by the order of which things are and are not being used. Here. First, you know, we saw Forced out with the Tactical Visor instead of the Riptide from Milo. Okay, given that one they won this time around. EMP didn't come out despite it looking like a perfect one. Okay, we give Sad Boy the double kill, but not something that's super reliable. That being said, though, it's the second time we've seen Sad Boy get a bunch of kills in a row. How many more times can he get that done? I'm thinking Not too many, but for Alter Ego, let's look at what they have to use right now. And that right now looks like the EMP. However, PB Jam's held onto this for ages.
Ages indeed. Has had a couple of opportunities to utilize that ultimate. Still not being picked up here, but again, it does seem as though the fight is sort of leaning on the side of Alter Ego regardless. Self-destruct is out, does not get anything. And Milo probably needs to be backing out here on that Tracer. Did get hacked up and PB and Jam dispatching of him. So a bit of free push time here now for Alter Ego. But 2 minutes on the clock, this is still anyone's game.
And for nothing spent so far as well, they kind of got Surge backed up here. They can fire at any moment. PB and Gem just kind of lording this EMP over them, threatening it against them at every point in time, but just kind of not that keen to use it. It's his precious, precious EMP.
Well, it's certainly, I mean, it's still working out right now. Right now, like for
the
Alter
mind
Ego,
games are working.
Yeah.
Because Surge think it's going to come and then it doesn't come, and I'm confused too.
I think everyone's confused at this point. 4-star picking up the ultimate or utilizing the ultimate. However, not finding too much with it. There's a good transcendence out on the side of Kraken to keep things alive. Still does get PB and Jam.
Oh,
so it's, again, no EMP available for the moment. The res does come across.
Does he know he's playing Sombra?
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
I'm not sure that was going to be the best EMP, if I'm honest. I think he's only picked up one, maybe two players on the Alter Ego roster there, but it's still working. Oh, sorry, on the Surge roster, but it's still working. It's still working.
Promise you this is the last time I harp on about it, but in the time that he spent not using it, he could have charged up like 3 EMPs easy. That being said, though, it works. At the end of the day, Alter Ego getting it through, nearly fully capped out.
Nearly fully capped indeed. Only 50 seconds though, not too much time, but someone needs to get on that point. There is the Winston with the Primal Rage. Trace putting a lot of pressure on 4-star. Quite difficult for a Soldier to deal with a Tracer at times, and this is definitely not looking very fun right now if you are Surge, as they do appear to be losing this fight and appear to have now lost the fight. As the cap does come across there for Alter Ego. They get the job done in the end. Took them almost as much time as it did Surge, but 2-1, or 2-0 rather now to Alter Ego.
35 seconds remaining as well. Look, that wasn't the closest. Sorry, no, it was the closest. More closer than Alter Ego, I guess, would have been comfortable with. And that's kind of, again, you got to credit Surge for that. But how many more close calls can we expect until Surge can actually get a win? That's got to be the biggest question.
That's been the storyline for Surge for all of their matches, unfortunately. They've always been able to make these matches close, but they've never actually been able to convert them. And so we would be seeing 3 or 4 more maps on the board, I feel, for Surge, if they just had that little bit extra which allowed them to convert.
I can't help but feel that if you're Alter Ego, you probably can't afford to let games go out to that. You couldn't do it against a better team, right? You're going to get punished for it. They had what was actually a pretty good defense, but when it came to attack, it really just sort of fell apart. And I do want to touch on PB and Jam and the EMP. To me, it brings back memories of watching the nanny. And I don't know if this is too old for you, Jordan, but like her mother had a couch and it was covered in plastic because you never wanted to use it, right? Because you want to look after it. But then what's the point? You've got this great thing. It's like buying a new car and never driving. Why? I don't know. I guess one of those things. In the end, they won.
Like, he's a show-off. That's what it is.
Yeah. In the end, they won.
I have this and you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look at this. I have ult the whole time. But look, I guess it's tough. It doesn't matter. They won. But it's peculiar to me watching from afar.
Yeah, I mean, like, to play the devil's advocate, to try and justify it in any way. We sort of spoke about the mind games. Realistically, I don't think that we saw Surge kind of really playing around it too much, to be honest. They were still grouped up. They were still taking those fights. I didn't really notice any kind of difference in their playstyle, knowing that the EMP was up.
In fact, if anything, they were kind of shutting it down because PB died numerous times holding on to the EMP. So if anything, you're on Surge thinking like, well, there he is, take him down, cool, he's done. And now we just play without it being a factor, so.
Yeah.
Oh, well. They got it, and now they're up 2-0. So that's, in the end, all that actually matters, isn't it, gentlemen? They're halfway through. They're only one map away now from a victory here. So the next map is going to be Hanamura. It's Assault. Jordan and I like to talk about how we think Assault is the map, where if the underdog's going to come through, it's going to be here. Now, potentially, we're only basing that on Kanka vs. Blank, but overall, I think the games that we have seen on Assault have been a little bit more even sometimes.
Surge did get a map on Hanamura as well. But, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are, Avril, but I sort of feel like 2CP, or Assault rather, lends itself a little bit more towards upsets.
Definitely in Blank's case, because they're cursed, but also in everyone else's case. Just had to throw that out there. Also in everyone else's case, though, I think there's a certain uniqueness about the Salt game mode where, you know, your ability... I think what it is it tests attacking teams quite well. It's, I think, the biggest test of how well teams attack because it requires such good coordination to overcome a defense, that massive defender's advantage on B. So it kind of definitely throws some teams off, which may be the case to why we see some crazy results sometimes.
Well, we're halfway through our first match of the day here. It's Surge up against Alter Ego, and Alter Ego are up 2-0. We're heading over to Hanamura, but first off, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, all the action live for you.